This is season 3 of Pregnant with Purpose with Miss Regina Hassan.
There's a right time for everything. According to Ecclesiastes 3 in the Message Bible, it reads, there's an opportune time to do things, a right time for everything on earth, a right time for birth and another for death, a right time to plant and another to reap, a right time to kill and another to heal, a right time to destroy and another to construct, a right time to cry and another to laugh, a right time to lament and another to cheer, a right time to make love and another to abstain, a right time to embrace and another to part, a right time to search and another to count your losses, a right time to hold on and another to let go, a right time to rip out and another to mend, a right time to shut up and another to speak up, a right time to love, another to hate, a right time to wage war, and another to make peace.
That was beautiful. So on this season, we're talking about the rhythms of life. And so I guess we'll start here at the new life stage. And so when it comes to being born, what is the music that you feel like goes with this rhythm for this stage of life?
That's like the motherland music, that's like the African drums, that new birth type of sound that's coming into being. So yeah, I hear African drums playing, I hear the tribal beat in the background, but it's a new life, it's a new beginning. That's the rhythm for that part.
Okay.
Or that's the music for that rhythm of life.
Right. Okay. Now, people that's not from the motherland, would you feel that they would still feel that rhythm? Do you feel like that rhythm is something that beats in anybody, regardless if you're black, white, Hispanic?
It's undeniable. It's undeniable that because it is like almost in sync. That rhythm is almost in sync with the heartbeat, and we all have a heartbeat.
I like that. So what about this sunrise season? What do you feel the sunrise season? What is the music that goes to that?
I think that I put the hip hop type music with that sunrise, because that's when that invincible time, that fearless time, that not really open to learn new things, but creating new things that I can do on my own. It's that time, that fearless time, when not kind of like being a little reckless in that hip hop rhythm of life.
So we're saying maybe around the 17 to 20 somethings, where you just kind of get
even before that, because if you think about it, as early as when you were in school and maybe as early as in primary school and elementary school, you started discovering maybe even being identified as being the leader of the pack, kind of setting your own trend, kind of having other people look to you for what's new, what's hip, what's, whether it was your favorite TV program that y'all talked about and the person on that show or whatever, but it was just that season in life that really not experiencing any consequences for my decisions.
Okay. Yes, I could definitely agree with that. At that age, it's hard for anybody to hold you accountable for the things that you may think or act.
Because you always had youth on your side. So, usually when things happen, it was attributed to your youth. Oh, they don't know better. They're young. You're just young.
Very true. And even in the world, the street world,
right.
Some people will, he's too young to go to jail, so he can do all of this. Yeah, so I definitely agree. That it is universal.
But I want to also add this, that that hip hop season of our lives is not always dictated by age, because I know some people who are older in their lives and they're still in the hip hop season of their life, not really accepting responsibility, not being accountable. So it's not just determined, the different seasons of our lives or the different rhythms of our lives are not just dictated by age. So I just want to make that very clear. But that's kind of like an overall look at that particular rhythm of our life. So if I have to say so, it goes back to, when we were younger, but I know people that are in their hip hop and they're not necessarily of a younger generation. You understand what I'm trying to say without saying it?
Yes, I definitely understand. There are some people that are still babies in their 50s.
Exactly. Are still living that.
Mm-hmm. I definitely get it. So the next rhythm that we'll go with is the world versus reality.
But that's the pop music, which is short for popular music. That's that time in our lives where, or maybe the time, not in everybody's life, but there's usually a time in our lives where we're more interested in how the world sees us rather than how we really are. Or even worse, rather than looking at how the world sees us and not how God wants us to be. So, we get into it that everything that's popular, we want to be about it. Whatever the leading trend is, from the type of phone that we wear, from the type of athletic shoes that we put on, from the type of jackets, everything. It just becomes more about how the world sees us and how we want to be a part of the world, when it's really true that, there comes a time in life when we have to stop looking to the world. But during this popular time, we're looking to the world for our validation, for the world to validate who we are.
Okay, I like that. And I even like that you said wearing your phone, because it has become a fashion statement, the phone that you have.
The phone that you have, right, the watch that you wear, the caps that are on your head. It becomes more about how the world is going to see you, that you letting that dictate who you really are inside. Well, a lot of it is not. For some people, not everybody, but the most expensive thing that we will grab onto is our phone, and it's like, I can't pay the bill, but I got a nice looking phone. Okay?
Correct. No, I
because it's popular.
Yes. No, that is very true. Very, very true. Okay, so now we're moving to the stage of everything is on beat. I'm guessing like it's got that thing, like you can't, even when you try to get off, you're still on track.
Right.
Type. Okay. Explain that.
That's the R&B. I call that the R&B part of our lives, and that too can intermingle. It doesn't necessarily have to be at a certain age, but it could be at a young age, it could be at an older age. But it's that season in our lives, that rhythm in our lives where it's on point, that we're on sync, that we're moving in the direction that we feel strongly that God is leading us into. So everything is on beat, everything is on course, everything is, right on time. You ever went, I know you have, but you've gone to a concert, and who's ever performing starts telling everybody, hey, clap your hands, and the whole stadium is clapping on beat, the whole stadium is within that beat. They got that beat going on, so I call that the R&B rhythms of our lives that, we all have experience. And if you haven't experienced it, just keep living, that there'll come a time where, and it can even be, how can I put it? It can even fool us at times, because we're in that R&B and everything is working out fine, and everything is going the way it's supposed to go, right. But it's not, there's something coming. Okay. You know what I mean? That there may be something coming, but it gets us into this false sense of security sometimes. That R&B, where we thought we had it made, we thought everything was good, and then we get a letter or we get a phone call or something happens. So, R&B.
That is the explanation that you gave. And the follow-up that comes after this is impeccable, because R&B stands for rhythm and blues. Mm-hmm. And then the next topic is the season of blues.
Yeah,
which you already led into it, saying that you think that everything is good and everything is going to be all right, but you don't see what's coming in the future.
And, this season can intermingle throughout all our seasons, that we have a time of grief and loss, or there's a time of disappointment, time of rejection. It's a time for or sometimes it can be a time that, we may need to get somewhere and just sit down, or like the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. That may be, or maybe a time for reflection, even though it is counted as blue, but it may be a time of reflection to start looking back at, hey, what's really going on in my life? What really is God's plan for me? So the blues can be a part of any rhythm of life. It just goes along with it. Like you say, R&B stands for rhythm and blues. So, like Frankie Beverly,
right?
Joy and Pain, So, yeah. But there's this blues time. And when I started thinking about this season, that was the first thing that I thought about, was talking about grief and loss, because I've experienced some in my life, and some people that are very close to me have been experiencing some grief and loss, but I just didn't want the whole season to be about loss. I just wanted to talk about other things. That's how we came up with the rhythms of life. They're all different type of rhythms. That's how we came up with the different seasons and times. So
that's good. That's real good. And I could understand why you wouldn't want to have your whole season like this. Who wants to just be sad a whole season?
Right.
And you're a very upbeat person, so that I love that you are able to acknowledge what is going on and then also think past it.
Right.
Which also brings us to the next topic of the truth, because the truth does not care about what happens whenever you're sad or when you're happy. The truth is the truth. So what is this truth sound that you hear?
The truth sound I hear is gospel music. That's what I hear for the truth, because that's what it stands for, is the truth. So that period of our lives, or that rhythm of our lives, when we get that gospel, when we get that truth, that's the time when, man, you have to start looking at the reality of things. You have to start looking at yourself as who you really are. You can no longer hide from the things in your life anymore. You start looking at the decisions that you made and what those consequences have come out of those decisions. Whether the consequences have been good or bad, you still have to take a look at it. And the truth is what is so necessary in moving forward, especially past pain or your blue season. Okay, right. The truth is very important, because as bad as things may seem, the truth as I know it is that God is still good. So that season is so important. I feel like it's just so important that when you get to that point in your life when, hey, you can't avoid it anymore, and it's about the truth, not your truth, not somebody else's truth, but the truth.
Right, the subjective truth, not the objective.
Right, exactly. And the Bible says that Jesus Christ is the truth, the way, and the light. So that's it. It's the truth. So dealing with that, and what I say, dealing with self, because if you ask God to show you, He will. You just got to be prepared for what you might see.
Right. Yes, that is very true. A lot of people are not ready for that reality.
Right. That's when the phone you carry don't matter. That's when the clothes you have on, that's when all that stuff gets stripped and you're looking at yourself for who you really are. Sometimes it's very difficult to look at that, because what you portray out there, you've been portraying hip, slick, and cool, and really what's going on inside is somebody anxious, scared, worried, fearful, lonely.
Yeah.
So that's the truth.
Right. Okay. I'm with that. And so after truth, we have sunset years.
Sunset.
If you say sunset, I don't really think it's sunset.
Right.
It's to me more like a sunrise year if you think about
really.
it.
It really can. That's a true statement. But I think about a time in your life where it's that smooth jazz. Mm-hmm. Where you come to the reality that, this is a point where I'm at. I've experienced the truth, and I'm at this point where I'm no longer fighting everybody. I don't have to be heard. I'm not trying to be understood. I'm leaning toward being more understanding. You know, I try to be at peace with everyone. And I'm not saying I'm there yet. Don't get me wrong. You know, that smooth jazz, even at my age, at 65, I'm not saying I'm at that point. But that's the point that I look at in life. That's the rhythm of life that I feel like is when, you know, you cease fighting all things and all people, you know. Whereas, you know, you're not trying to, it's more important for you to have friends than it is to be right. It's more important for you to have family than it is to be right all the time. So that's what I call smooth jazz. That smooth jazz time. You know, you're not ruffled by everything that comes along. You know, you don't have to debate on every issue. You know, you don't have to fight on every issue. You know, it's whereas, you know, you could hear somebody else and you agree to disagree without being disagreeable.
And that's so powerful because jazz, you know, in jazz you get your leads where the saxophone player may be playing something that doesn't even sound like his own beat. And he goes his own direction, but then he comes back to the band and everybody's gelled back together. But
Right.
It's like that's the disagreement. They don't agree, but then they agree to disagree, but make it work regardless. So I like that. I like that
too, what you just said, Gerald. I like that. Yeah.
Appreciate it. That's why you picked me. So for the next one we have is, since you are not dead, God's not done. What do you think about that rhythm? What sound
That's
goes
when you
with
come to the point where you're living out your purpose. You understand that there's a purpose for that God has for you in your life, and you come to the point in the road where, hey, I'm going to step out. You know, I'm going to walk by faith and not by sight. That's what I call the big band era, because you know, back in the day they used to have bands. You know, and you know, these bands, they had these guys that performed in the band, they were expertise at the instruments that they played, you know, and they could play their part so well, but when they came together, it was all perfect. The band just gelled together because, you know, the trumpet player was playing his part and the saxophone player, he's doing his, and you got the drummer and he's on beat. It's that point in your life where you know, I'm headed in the right direction. I'm living out my God-given purpose, you know, and exactly, you know, my thing, if since you're living and not dead, then God's not done, and you recognize there's still more that you have to offer and bring to the table. You know, it's still a big band sound inside of you with that rhythm of life.
Yes. No, that is very, very influential. Like the big band, just tying big band to that you're not dead, because when you think about the big band, it's like everybody is there together. You got multiple drummers, multiple horns, and they all are bringing that expertise because they've been through all of these other phases,
Exactly.
all of the rhythms that they came together to make this band one thing and send one message together.
What was that? What was the movie that they used to say that in?
Oh,
One band, one sound.
Drumline.
You know,
Yeah.
Drumline. Remember,
Yeah.
one band, one sound. You know, we say, you know, it's one body but with many parts, but it's still one body. You know, and that's how. And you've been given your part. So if in the body, if I'm the knee, I'm gonna be the best knee I could possibly be. You know,
That's right.
if I'm the elbow, I want to be the best elbow I can be. So you know, it all works together. It all works together for good.
That is very true. Some people are the appendix, but we still need them, and whenever we lose them, we still keep functioning.
Right. Exactly.
The appendix is still there to take up space. So
Exactly,
you need that
exactly.
body part. I agree. I like that. But those are all the rhythms that I see here. Do you have any other ones that you would like to add? Do you think maybe folk or anything might be tied in there? Polka?
Get out of here, Gerald.
You know they dance too. They have those
Hey
sounds.
man, I'm gonna tell you too. And you know, a lot of people will be surprised. But you know, country has its place, man. a lot of people, say things against it. I don't go out and necessarily get that music, but man, their music, the sound and the lyrics of their songs are very straight to the heart and straight to the gut type songs, and I like that, I like that, if it's the blues, if it's a downer, man, they can sing it and it comes across that way, and if it's upbeat, they can take it that way. So I didn't have it in my rhythms of life, but definitely country music,
I feel like country embodies pretty much all of these at one time. I feel like country is like life in itself, because country, they take those words that people would say in hip hop, put it with a rhythm and blues sound, and then play the instruments like they're a big band or a jazz band and make it all work together. And it's just like it's all life in one essence, if you will. And
you know what? It adds to the point about music uniting us. There are a lot of things in this world divides us, and that's why, this musical genre theme came up, because there's so much that divides us in the world, but music brings us together, and and one thing that you and I and everyone else can relate to, we can relate to these different rhythms of our lives. We can relate to all these different rhythms of our lives. I don't care what you call it. If you are a person born of a woman, you know that there have been these different seasons. And if it hasn't come to you yet, like I say, just keep living, just keep living,
Right.
But I always think that no matter what rhythm of life you're in, if you can dance your way through it, you're gonna be okay.
Amen. That's very true. Well, this has been a very exciting and fulfilling episode. I feel like this is a great embodiment to bring back season 3. So did you want to close us out, or you got more that you want to talk about?
Well, how I like to do it. So this has been our introduction to season 3. I want y'all to subscribe, and I want y'all to like, okay? I want you to watch, subscribe, and like. But you know what I always say, that I've been saying through this whole podcast episode here, what I always say, if you're not dead, God's not done. See you. Bye.